All right, Chris, I need you to fix a plan. It's a new segment we got going on here where we're calling it Chris, Fix My Plan.
We were calling it something else earlier.
We were going to say Chris on my plan, but no, we're going to do it this way because Chris is our resident planning geek here, and he literally has no idea what questions I'm going to ask him about the client that we're going to show. So we're going to go through all of this here, and we're going to let's just dive in. I don't think there's a sense in teasing any of this. I have some questions about a plan that I need you to solve for, and we're going to watch Chris solve for it in real time. He genuinely has no idea. Are you ready?
Give you my word.
Are you ready, mister?
I'm ready.
Okay. So here we have Nest Egg here, and we've got on the initial screen, I've let Chris take over now. We're giving you the blueprint of these people's lives. We have Louis and Lucille Armstrong. I went in here and tinkered with all this ahead of time, so he has no idea. He's learning as we do this. They are both 59 years old. They're going to retire at age 60. Now, the blueprint actually shows, Chris, you can go wherever you want to go with this, but for the viewers, Louis has assets off to the left, and Lucille has assets off to the right, both assets and debt. And then in the center, they have some joint stuff. So Louis got a 401k, he's got a handful of credit cards, he's got some life insurance, and that's Louis. In the center, we've got a joint account, emergency savings, and a couple of homes there that they have. And then Lucille on her own has a Roth, an IRA, and some debt on a Discover card. So that's the general blueprint. Chris is going to have free reign to fix or really just make this plan whole here. And I'm going to start with the first question. Are you ready, Chris?
I'm ready.
So as you can see in red on the blueprint, which is not normally how he looks at this, by the way, the question the client has is, should they pay down or pay off their debt? As you can see, Capital One, Best Buy, student loan, a car, and Lucille's got a Discover card. Should they pay off or down their debt, and how should they go about it?
Great question. Well, is it as opposed to what?
Leaving it as it is, just paying the minimum payments as they go, or anything else? Their question is, based on our life right now, should we just knock this debt out, or does it ruin our whole plan to, if we do pay it off, does it ruin our whole plan? Or if we don't pay it off, are we in trouble?
That's a great question.
Let's see.
Well, they're in some trouble just to begin with, right?
He found it already.
Are in the 43 percentile.
Yeah.
You're running out of money, either paying it off or not paying it off. Let's take a look at some cash flows here, and we can kind of see how long this stuff goes. So, well, for one, it looks like they stopped working at 59. Okay, homeboy, you got to keep working, and your wife's got to keep working too, because there just isn't, the salary runs out. We're not taking Social Security till 67, and well, that's not cutting it, right? So if you got nothing coming in until Social Security, this column over here is digging into your assets, right? And so, boy, this is more than $1 million that you're cutting out in the first 6 years of retirement.
Now that's a big chunk there. Absolutely big chunk. And I had currently set that they would wait till full retirement age for Social Security. They're both going to retire at the same time. They're dead set on that, whether it's this year, next year, whatever. They are going to retire together. Could we adjust anything? Should they take Social Security earlier? But that's getting off track because I want to know if they should pay off that debt first.
That's kind of like a moot point, right? I mean, they
go hand in hand.
They need to do something. So, man, my immediate thought is we need to work. We need to work more, right?
What if they say no? No.
All right. So we're not going to work.
We want to retire at 60. Chris, fix my plan.
Okay, well then let's hope that one of these guys needs to disappear earlier, right? to not be. I picked the wrong one, right? The guys usually go before. It doesn't even matter. No, they have to work. Okay, they have to work.
Okay.
I guess they could file for bankruptcy. Let's let this thing load, and then let's do a debt proposal. What do you say? See, we don't have debt proposal on this.
So yeah, so this is where Chris is naturally
falling apart.
he's going to have some fun with this because we have someone who has debt who also wants to retire next year, and they're asking is, should I pay this debt off now? And it's like, okay, can you pay off the debt now? Yeah, you can pay it off, but hey, do you want to retire next year? Like, you can't have both at this point. That's what he's kind of struggling with, and that was the whole point of this experiment so far. So take me through them paying off their debts and saying we're just going to knock it out, even if we have to work a couple years further.
Okay, so there's a couple ways to go about paying off debt, right? There's like the avalanche, and then there's like the snowball, right?
Mhm.
And one of them is based on math, and the other is based on like emotion, right? So the snowball effect is you take the smallest debts first, right? I think there was a forerunner for like 27,000, and then she had like a discover card. She only had like one. All she's doing is swiping a card. He's got a bunch of other stuff. So she had like 25,000 in that credit card. So you could either go math wise once again or emotional wise, and you take your debts lowest to highest and you pay off the smallest balances first, right? You don't chip away at the car payment, whether it's got the most interest rates first. You chip off at that little stuff. I don't even remember what the little stuff was, but let's say it's like $2,000. You chip away at that first, no matter what the interest rate is, because man, you're going to celebrate a win. Okay, we did it. We got
Yep.
one paid off. Okay, what's next? And then you take the next lowest payment. So let's say it's like 5,000. Okay, that payment, you throw all the money at that payment, right? You do the minimums on these other ones, and then you max payment out on this one, but you're also adding that $2,000 payment too, right? Whatever
To it.
so that was like $500 a month, right? So
Okay.
you had 500, and then you focus on this one, and when the 5,000 is paid off, boom, you celebrate, and right then
Okay.
then you go to the next. Now the avalanche is you go to the highest percentages first. We don't care about balances. We're going to go and hit like the medical credit card. That's like 32%. And then we're going to go and do the Discover card where the introductory price is gone and now it's 24%. And then we'll hit that little $2,000 one that's at like 6%. And then
Okay.
you just math wise, that's what works. So this is what this drop down like priority is, right? So either you want to do your highest to lowest interest rate or balance.
Okay.
Okay. And then how much extra are you putting down? So the program knows what your balances are, what the interest rates are, and in your mortgages and your loans will have terms, right? So
Yep.
if you go into your cash flows, you can kind of see the outlays of where everything's going, and it'll keep track. And so you say, okay, if I pay these minimums every month, but I also want to pay $1,000, right? What's that going to do for me?
Well, we
Okay,
just saw their cash flows a minute ago, and next year it's not looking too good.
correct, right? So, okay, they want to retire, and they can't. Like, you lose your house, right? I mean, I guess you could just pay your house and keep the lights on, and let everything else go. But what kind of like retirement is that?
Yeah.
So, if we assume that they're going to work and then chip away at the debt, this is kind of how you figure out that strategy, right? And if they pay an extra 1,000 a month, paying the lowest interest rates first or the highest interest rates first,
It's going
right?
to be that Capital One and Discover, I think it is, right?
Um,
Scroll down a little bit.
yeah, let's take a look. Okay, yeah, there we
Uh,
go. Look at that.
oh, Discover. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Discover. Well, then you're going to save 34,600 in interest and 278 months faster. I mean, that's significant.
Well, it's 30, technically it's 34 million extra dollars because
Oh, oops. Yeah, missed the
oh, sorry,
missed the
small
digit there.
number. The reason why it's such a big number is because they were not actually going to pay anything more than the minimum payment. That's how they put it in is we'll just pay the minimum payment. So that's why it seems that way. They would have never paid off all of that. So step number one for them, it looks like, man, we don't need to prioritize paying off debt because we have an issue with uh, retirement, first of all, right?
Yeah, like you're not. If I was talking to him, I'd be like, "You can't retire."
So let's look back at their blueprint or their profile, wherever you're comfortable going. Is there anything they can do to solve for, look, they're telling you, Chris, I hired you. I don't want to work another year. Solve for it. Tell me what I do.
Okay.
Is there anything? There may not be. It's not a trick question. I'm
Well,
just curious.
they've got 2 cars. Do they need 2 cars? Can they go to 1?
Well, one's a student
Right.
loan, one's a car.
Yeah. All right. Student loans, you're going to die with those, right? You're not getting rid of that. What about the house? Right. They've got. Do they need? Whoa! An investment property. Okay. What? Let's see what this is doing. Okay. So this is bringing in 1,600 a month. It's staying rented, right? 95% of the time.
Yep.
Okay. And let's see. Annual insurance, property tax. Let's
In
see. Let's see
Florida,
what the
too.
mortgage is on this thing. What's the mortgage on this thing? There is no mortgage on this thing. Okay,
There's
so
no
they
mortgage.
own this thing. They
Yep.
own this thing free and clear, right? So they could sell it and get out from under the debt. Now, is this investment property supposed to be a vacation property? Do they like being a landlord? If you hate being a landlord, well, there's your answer, right? If you're not going to hire a management company, right?
Mhm.
There you go. But this isn't bringing enough income.
It's not bringing in a lot of income here. It is, it's in Florida. It's fine. Maybe it's something interesting, but not bringing in a lot of income. And they're still focused on that debt. So, would you ever tell somebody, hey, open up a line of credit against this condo, pay off the debt, and then immediately put that condo up for sale? Or would you say it's not worth it? Just put it up for sale if you're willing to sell it.
Well, I'd ask some questions, right? Do you like being a landlord? Do you hate it? Do you like the property? Is it your dream home that you want to move into?
Okay.
Line of credit? How about you? I want you to answer that. How about that? You tell me, would you open up a line of credit if they're like, I want to keep this? I don't know.
So
It's like Peter to pay Paul in my mind, but
it is.
give me
It's the
your
same
thoughts.
thing. So I noticed that it was in Florida, and I think, well, you're not going to have much of a problem selling a condo here in Florida, at least as of now. So if you want to pay off the debt and you're not attached to that condo, can we look at some kind of exit strategy for that condo? If there's a current tenant in it and they have until December until they need to move out, but you're dead set on paying off at least the high interest credit card debt, then let's do a line of credit against the condo, which ultimately is just taking some equity now for hopefully a small fee and getting that credit card debt. If it costs you 8% to do a line of credit, but you're paying 31% on that Capital One or Discover or whatever, at least we're saving a few dollars. It's not life changing, but all right, if you can't sell it today, at least that's something. So, should
I
they
like
pay
that.
off debt with the cash that they have? Uh, I don't see how that works. You got right to it. You're like, no, it doesn't work. You can't do it. We gotta give something. And if they're not willing to give the years that they work, like we're dead set on retiring next year, then we've got to give up something. And in this case, it's an asset because you need a car, right? So we're not giving that up. We don't need a vacation home, so that's that part. Okay, next question. Let's go back to the dashboard real quick because I think this shows it pretty well. Top left, I changed it on you. So this isn't for everybody, but what I did is I set it up so that we could see some metrics right off the front, right off the bat here. Savings rate 9.3%. That doesn't matter because they only have 6 months left to save. They've got a decent net worth. Effective federal tax rate 19.1%. Withdrawal rate in retirement, at least to start, 15.35. Chris, is their withdrawal rate a problem?
I would say it is a problem, right? And the old test of time is the what is it, the 4% rule, and it doesn't solve everything, but a lot of people will use that because it's easy math. It's been around for decades, and not everybody has like a financial planner, right? Or if you didn't have the internet 20 years ago, you're like, hey, how do I not run out? Okay, well, we'll use. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say also inside of Nest Egg, if we had a 4% withdrawal rate, that's a raw number. Taxes would be included on top of that. So your withdrawal rate would really be like, in their case, like 3.2%. So just because I was in here, let's go to retirement tab. Is their withdrawal rate always 15.35%? If so, that explains that 43%. I want to know if we should be focused in on this withdrawal rate, or is it just not a big deal and we can make it through it. So if we go to retirement details and the little tab there at the down a little bit to the right, inside that. Yeah.
It's just, yeah,
So
look at that.
now let's change it from income sources of proposed plan, bring that little drop down arrow down, and let's go to out to the left a little bit. So it says in the center, it says income sources from proposed plan. I added in that we could add their withdrawal rate. But click on that booger there. Yeah. Okay. So this shows their withdrawal rating every year. And Chris already found this. This was like the first thing he spotted was like, hey, we've got between retirement and Social Security. Look at that withdrawal rate. If you hover over each one of those things, we're north of 15% for the majority of these years. So I was asking the question to Chris, is that withdrawal rate a problem?
Hey, this says we're going to retire and we're going to like sail around the world for a year. We're going to go to Thailand. Like there must be some, what are the goals in here? Right. I'm curious about what the goals are.
Check it out. So if we look at their goals, these are things that the client have put in here. They want to retire at 60, retirement expenses 6,500. We've got healthcare in there. They're going to buy a car every 8 years. Not necessarily a deal breaker. We've got some travel and additional spending. And Chris, just by looking at the withdrawal rate, he already kind of picked up. I was trying to trick you a little bit here, but he already picked up on it.
Well, I mean, they're having a good time. I mean, 25 grand every year.
In addition to their normal spending. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's see what current expenses are. All right. So this year they're going to spend 3,680 every month. And then all of a sudden they retire and it almost doubles. So
Plus
what is
healthcare.
baked in? What is baked in this 6,500, right? So, maybe we're double counting fun.
Yep.
Right.
There you go.
Usually the expenses don't go up. Usually it's the fund that goes up.
Common issue with clients here is they're double counting some stuff. So healthcare in this case would be in addition. So if you look over at his annual retirement healthcare cost, $6,300 per person, well, there's a good chance that they're double counting that in the retirement expenses. In addition, they have additional spending of $25,000, which is already more than the $6,500 is already basically double what they're already spending. So I would bet you that they're double counting that as well. That to me is, hey, I can't answer this question of is my withdrawal rate a problem at the moment? It is, hey, I got to talk to the client. I want to make sure that they're happy with these numbers because I bet you there's a mistake in there somewhere. So that was kind of a trick one for Chris to see if he'd come across that. Now,
go ahead. We can always build in, right, these items just to make it work, right? So if somebody's like super stubborn, I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of some insurance here. But if we can always build this in and go, well, do you really need the 25 grand? What if it's, what if it's 16?
Yep.
Right?
They say, well, I put a little bit in my retirement spending, but I still would like to spend some more on a first class ticket or something. Doesn't move the needle.
Doesn't move the needle. Oh, man. This is brutal. This cargo is killing me, guys.
So one of the things that I would work in now, this is a total side topic just because we're here, is their retirement spending. Instead of it being an inflation adjusted retirement spending, I would look into some other method of spending, meaning maybe we spend more. Well, they're already spending more when they're younger, but maybe we taper that off if they make it into their 80s and now family comes and visits them instead of them going to visit that, whatever it is. So I'd almost look at something, I call it the retirement taper. That's what we put in there, where we're going to adjust your spending each year by inflation, but then we're going to reduce your spending by 2%. So it's just 2%. Sounds like a little bit, but it actually adds up to be quite a bit. I would start focusing on that. If they said, no way, I'm retiring at age 60, this is how it has to go, that makes a huge difference. But we're counting on them having fun in the early years and slowing down in the very, very late years. So you can see the kind of the sizable difference there. Right? What is it? Yeah, put it back to 25. We say slow your spending, but have fun when you're young. Now we got something we can work with.
There we go.
At least a little bit better. Last question. If you go back to the dashboard there, I have one other issue with their plan. Just get your thoughts on this one. Their effective federal tax rate. Oh, we got their withdrawal rate down to 11%, by the way, since you changed that.
Very
Their
nice.
effective federal tax rate. Is there anything we can do to lower their total lifetime tax rate?
Absolutely. Well, all right. So there's this plan is doing a withdrawal sequence that will eliminate. Let's go in here real quick. That will go through all their taxable accounts first, right? Individual account, joint account, burn through cash. Then it goes in the tax deferred money. And then when the tax deferred money is all gone, then it goes to Roth. Well, let's look at our tax allocation here. Whoa, good Lord. I mean, it's all tax deferred, right? So we have no tax-free money here. I don't know if Roth conversions are going to work because, well, you know what? They might. Let's go take a look.
And if you're just following along here as we go, Chris has never seen this. This is genuinely, we have not prepared for this. He is doing this on the fly. Something we're experimenting with is just presenting Chris with a plan that a client has. In this case, this is a client that has this exact scenario, and just seeing what he thinks. Just because we work as a team here at Jazz Wealth, and hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. Marketing, that's how you do it.
I'm wearing my logo today.
There you go.
Question: Do the Armstrongs care about legacy? Right? Do they want their children to? Do they want to pay the taxes for their children as well, or do we only care about ourselves? In my mind, I'm like, your plan, you can't care about the kids. Whatever's left is left. But is that also a non-negotiable?
Nope. Their kid is 25, almost 26, I believe, if we look at it. And they have no concerns about whether they pay tax or not.
Okay. Okay. All right. So then we're going to get rid of the estimated terminal tax rate because what this particular page, there's no Monte Carlo in this scenario yet. It's only straight line math, right?
Okay.
It's going to take your equities, grow them at 7, 8, 9%. Cash is going to be beat up by inflation. Bonds are going to grow at like 4 or 5%. So if we want to include, okay, so hey, we are going to do conversions. And the most efficient tax-wise will be to max out the 10% income bracket. So I'm going to bring it down like this. I'll refresh this. And then what we're going to do is, let's just take a look here. All right, I'm going to calibrate this. 10% ordinary income. Well, they'll have 73,000 more at the end of the plan, maxing this out. Let's roll this straight line math into some Monte Carlo. And where we go? Where is my tax strategy? I'm going to use my good eye. And too bad neither of them are good. And that might have brought up a little bit of money, but it didn't make all the difference in the world.
A few extra bucks there. And actually, if we look at the tax when you were doing the conversions there, it's a very minimal amount. Like it didn't even show up on the radar there. So if we go to the details tab of this,
details.
What are we talking conversion wise? What year are we doing this?
Yeah, let's see.
Did it even register?
No, look at that. They never once. Boy, that's odd. Maybe there's a glitch.
I think that had to do with the withdrawal strategy you had there.
Yeah, let's go back. Let's go back and current plan, taxable 2%.
The equity allocation is different there. So the only difference there was the way we allocate the dollars inside the accounts, whether we convert them or not. I think they might have to. Now they can't afford to do it, but they may have to convert more.
Taxable. Yeah, taxable. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
On the current plan. Okay, so from memory here. Taxable, tax-free.
Slight difference there. Yeah, just a little bit. And then you'd actually, if they cared, they'd have to convert up to the 24% bracket, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right.
But In the real world, I don't know how we convince them to do this. Because look at the details of this now. Just before you go, yeah. I mean, we got to convert 47,000 this year. They're making 180.
It's all in tax deferred accounts.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
And we got their Social Security going starting at 67. So all that conversion starts right up until then.
Yeah.
I'm not, I mean, yes, is that the way to go and end up with more money? Yes. Now, I think it's a hard sale to these clients because we don't really have the money to pay for this.
right. And what do you always say? Don't do the conversion if you can't pay the taxes.
Don't do it. Yeah. Just like, I mean, it's great. Maybe we find somewhere down the road where, okay, you didn't spend the 20,000 on the car, or you leased it, or you ended up not needing it or something. Like these little things could chip away at that. But that's so I did not see that coming. So that's one where me and him are playing together. And I'm like, nah, I see the difference, but I'm not sure you're not gonna convince them to do it. So can we lower their lifetime total tax rate? Yes, we actually got it from 19 to 13%. I don't know that they're gonna want to do anything more than that unless they give something. They got to give. Could we put in? I mean, we're not going to do it now, but we could say somebody has part-time income. You both retire at 60, but you're selling shirts on the side because you like making shirts, and you make $1,000 a month or something. There could be
Yeah.
something like that. But other than that, I think this is about as tight as we can get it. Uh, that's pretty cool.
Let's make sure everything's tracking on the investment side. Yeah, because every once in a while you have other doesn't know how to track on the Monte Carlo or on the growth.
Yep.
So it's a non-issue here.
No issue. Nothing we can do there. I think Chris has solved or he's fixed the plan, right? We went from, hey, you can't pay off debt, you can't retire, to, hey, you maybe don't want to pay off that debt unless you're going to sell the condo, get a line of credit if you can't sell it right away, or just sell it. We've talked about their withdrawal rate. The withdrawal rate's an issue. Social Security, we actually didn't really cover on whether there could be a better way to go about that, but we talked about their withdrawal rate and solved for that. So we lowered that. And then also their lifetime tax rate. There's some variance there. You can see how there's no specific answer for this couple, but we did lower their tax rate, and or I should say Chris lowered their tax rate. So that's a look at how we can at least start a conversation around your plans. And if you want to have Chris fix your plan, let us know. We'll be working with clients.
Right.
We've had a number of clients already go. Because to be fair, right? Like, hey, just I'll tell you this. We were going to call it, Chris, hey, poop on my plan. You know what I mean? Like we were going to kind of do that, but that doesn't work. So we're being nice about it, saying, hey, Chris, fix my plan. And so if you're one of our clients needed it fixed, let us know.
When I do planning, I put a lot of time into it and a lot of thought. I like to sleep on it, but when you catch me on the fly, that's when you get the, no, you're not doing that.
But where this stemmed from is me and Chris were going over a client's plan, and he's like, no, they're not doing that. No, of course not. It doesn't make any sense. And that energy, I'm like, okay, Chris, we got to film this.
I'm like doing this. I'm like, what? Would you know these people? No.
It's not happening, man. I like it. So we'll be doing many more of these here because you can see how Chris can tear it apart there. And appreciate you watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought. If this is something we should keep up or not. And otherwise, well done, Chris. Love it.